Hi, everybody. Welcome to this live stream. So we've been talking about vibe coding for a couple of times. Uh, vibe coding certainly has its advantages because you can get something to work rather quickly. For example, if you just give it a prompt and say I want to build a marketplace, it will get you to 80% completion ish depending on how you judge it, within like 10 minutes. But the problem is that you don't really know like which 80% you're gonna get out of your app. So the problem becomes how do you control that beast, right? And also GPT-5 was just released. Uh, People are also very curious about how GPT-5 performs against older models. So let's take a look. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to first show you some things that are built out of in Moment, and we have built this in a previous um, live stream. So we're going to showcase how this works, and we are also going to connect Lovable to Moment's backend. In this particular live stream, only an agent. So there will be no other kind of backend CRUD. For example, we're not going to write into the database or read from the database. We are only going to connect to agents built in Moment. In fact, it's actually pretty difficult to build agents inside the Lovable, because in order to do that, well, I guess if you want to prompt build an agent, your choices are limited. You can do a super base edge function. I guess that's the only thing you can do. Other than that, you might be able to manually build an N8N workflow, and that becomes your API, and then have Lovable connect to that. But then you have to know how all those work because you also have to handle authentication and all those fancy stuff. So now you have a third way you can build an agent inside Moment. And today we'll first do the angry guy, and then we'll connect. We've also built a tool, which is this guy here, to generate a prompt for you to connect to our agents. So let's first take a look and refresh our memory on how this angry dietitian performs. The angry guy takes an image and has a row as an angry dietitian, and what it does is it identifies foods and then it calculates the calories using a bunch of tools that we have, well, not bunch, just two of the tools that we have provided. And then, depending on your on the user's weight, height, sex, goal, and their particular deadline, and also this is gonna get a meal plan. Depending on the meal plan, it's gonna roast the user for their choice of food. So let's run it. We're gonna get lots and lots of food. And that's a bunch of food, and we're going to choose a particular user. So let's do Jiang Yaokai 5, and then let's give it a try. That's the goal. So that's my data. Those are the things that I've already entered into the database. Wants to slim down by 2026. It's now this particular date, and then the agent now fetches a bunch of calorie densities using the calorie density fetcher. Beef ribs, well, we didn't find it, but we found steak, which is close enough. Pulled pork is close enough to sausage. Sausage is just sausage. Fried chicken is exactly fried chicken. Mac and cheese, macaroni. Coleslaw is cabbage. Well, not exactly, but we'll take a pass. Bread is bread, and then it computes the number of calories. Obviously, it has made a mistake because it has entered the mass in terms of grams, but I specifically told it that the mass is multiples of 100, and it did not pay attention to what I wrote. So that's typical AI for you. But no matter, it has told me off, saying that you have a caloric catastrophe, right? So let's try to connect. Well, before we connect it, let's see how this shows up on Momen. I think Jiangyaokai 5 was the one that I chose. Yeah, Jiangyaokai 5 was that one that I chose. I'm gonna log in. That's my data, and then we're gonna upload the same image. Those are some stuff that's just built at Momen. We're gonna roast it, and we're gonna get a result saying that, you know, bad you, or bad me. All right, seriously, you think amount of calorie craze chaos is helping you slimming down? Okay, and we're like, all right, fine. Okay, so we have some UI issues over here, but no matter. So let's try to connect that. We have this tool called Lovable Prompt Generator on the Momen website. We will provide this link in the comment, well, not in the comment, in the description of the video once it becomes live. And all you need here is you're gonna paste in your editor's link, and you're gonna find the particular agent you want to connect to, so they're the angry guy here, and we're gonna copy. We'll paste it in here, and then we'll say, okay, so an angry dietitian who looks at my food and gives one-shot answers. May or may not work. Let's give it a try. Hopefully we'll get something out of the 5 credit I have left on my Lovable account. We'll first copy this and just run this in Lovable. Let's give it a try on GPT-5. Why not? While this is running, I will go through the prompt, exactly what was generated. And just so you know, we did build this prompt generator inside, well, using Momen, right? So you can see this is on Momen's website. Okay. First, it says connect the agent built on Momen. Connect to the agent built on Momen. The user preference is an angry dietitian who looks at my food and gives one-shot answers. Okay. The backend. How does Momen backend work? We have 2 things. It has a HTTP URL and has a WebSocket URL. So one is for issuing requests, the other one for listening to results. Subscription actually runs on WebSocket. And as you might have noticed, all of them has an S attached to the end, HTTPS, WSS, WebSocket, secure, HTTP, secure, right? So all Momen's APIs are encrypted. We don't even have the ability for you to connect to just HTTP or just WS. Those are completely off. All right, so what are we gonna do to achieve this preference? Well, you first need to obtain auth token. That's because in the well, our UI is gone, but we have chosen that you need to be logged in because in this particular agent, it is going to take the logged in users information. So if you don't log in, there is nothing to look at. Once you have that, you're going to obtain the auth token by logging in. That is we use in Momen we use GraphQL. That this is your GraphQL query, and if you don't have an account, then you have to register. So those are demonstrations to the AI, like how to interact with Momen's authentication service. Once you've logged in, you need to handle image or video. In fact, in this case, we will have to handle image. So these are a bunch of rules in order to upload the image to Momen's file storage, which is based in Amazon's S3. We need to sign it, right? You don't want anyone to be able to upload stuff randomly to your storage space because we do charge you for those storage space. So all of that should only be issued from Moment's front end. So actually, Moment's backend. Moment's backend is going to sign a particular request for a particular file. That in fact you can't upload a different file with the same request because then the MD5 hash won't match. Anyway, so it's a few-step process. You are going to generate the upload URL, which is actually signed, and then you're going to use, well, not you, but whoever wrote the front end is going to upload that file using this URL, and it's going to then refer to that image using the ID. Video works very similarly. And these are some explanations on what each parameter can take. And then you are going to invoke the AI agent. Again, it's a two-step process. First, you have to create a conversation with the agent. So this particular part of the prompt is generated based on the configuration of the agent. You can see we have a key and a display name and a type, right? So in this case, we do need a single input that is an image. The key is going to be used in the API, but the display name tells Lovable what exactly is this input means. And then we explain some constraints around how the AI should handle the inputs, and then how to actually start that particular agent. So start agent takes the configuration ID, which is given in here. That's the one. That's the agent's ID, and you can see that ID by just looking at here, ID M96WC7, right? So that is exactly this one here. This shouldn't really be example variables, but we'll let it pass. This is just a demonstration tool, so it's not that fleshed out. Okay, so then we get a conversation ID, which we will then use to listen to the result using WebSocket. In this particular case, it's streaming, I think. I don't know. Oh, it's not streaming, but we can turn it into streaming. And if it is streaming, then you get that effect of like these words popping out one after the other. Okay. You get the conversation ID, then you subscribe via WebSocket. But in order to connect to WebSocket, you will need to be logged in. So not everybody can listen to everything, right? So this is how you interact with the WebSocket. You will start listening, and then the WebSocket will give you a bunch of results. And this is I would call this not exactly pseudocode, but close enough. It's some example code of how you handle the resultant data. So each one will be sent back to you, and then the agent result page has a bunch of requirements, basically we will, well, in this case, it has like a chat window, which is not what I want. But if we were to further optimize this thing, then I can really get rid of this. I don't really want that. And I don't really want this either. I don't really care about, I wanted a one shot. And in order to interact with an agent, here are a bunch of constraints, which I don't really want either. So we'll try one without any of those. I don't really want to chat with the angry dietitian. All I want to do is a one shot. But these are very important. You do want to connect to make sure that the interactions with the Momen backend is fully specified here. And here's some more stuff. A lot of this is actually just written by AI, so we used AI to generate a lot of this prompt template. So we do actually have something here. Let's give it a try. We're gonna log in with the same account. We're gonna sign in. Okay, so start with an image. Okay, and whatever. Oh, it is already in process. So let's see what comes out of it. Whoa, okay, so that is now coming back with an answer. And it still gives me that stupid chat box. I don't really want a chat box. So let's modify. Let's hope that we have enough credit that we can create a new one. All right, but this one now basically works already. Let's check what really happens in the backend. You can see the running, the result of all the interactions in here. So that was the last one. So let's take a look. In the end, this is the last message. So let's take a look at it. You're clearly aiming for a cardio marathon with this spread. That's exactly what AI gave me here. All right, so that kind of works, but I don't want a chat box. In fact, I hate chat boxes. Okay, I have 3 credits left. In order to not waste it, we will not modify the we will not modify the prompt coming out of here. We will run a new one, but for a new functionality. So in order to do that, we're gonna leverage one of the again, it was one of the older projects that I built, and this is gonna rely on me setting up some stuff. So I'm gonna move some fake. I'm gonna move some fake events to September the 1st. Okay, and then let's take a look at what they are. So all this is that it has no location. So let's add a location, right? Stanford University. And let's add a location here as well. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have some fake event in the morning of September the 1st, and at between 7. So this is different time zones, but we'll just look at this. Oh, oops. Between 7 and 8, I'm supposed to be in Stanford University. And then between 10 and 11, I'm supposed to be in the airport. Okay? So let's try to run it. This is actually connected to my Google Calendar. So let's do, and then let's take a look at what this actually runs, right? So schedule thing goes to start a conversation and calls the scheduler. Okay, so let's take a look at the scheduler. And the scheduler takes a bunch of inputs, and let's do something. Let's just slightly modify that. Let's say a preference. Okay, preference. Okay, and then we'll do we'll do a conditional input. We'll call it has pref. If it has a preference, we're just going to take a preference. Preference is not null, then we'll do just the preference. So if we have preference, then we use a preference. And if no pref, right? If I have no preference, I configure nothing. So that's like a catch-all. I'm just gonna do like morning only. Okay, cool. Conditional data. And yeah, let's just sync it. So I'm very happy about a mutation. That's why. Okay, deleted those. That's gotten away. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff in here that I really shouldn't have. So let's delete all of that. Okay, now that's normal. We'll synchronize the backend. Should be they're done. Okay, that's done now. Cool. Okay, so now this is done. We're gonna try this out. We're gonna say San Los Altos High School. That's just somewhere near me. And we're gonna select that. And then because I'm not going to enter the preference, we'll basically have like morning only, right? So be 10 minutes walking. Why I'm going there? I'm walking. Okay. I'm gonna click schedule. We'll see what it does. Let's take a look at the scheduler, and it should be the last one. It's still going on, right? This is what we entered, and then it has it's probably already done. Yeah. So called a bunch of tools. You can see it called a bunch of tools and then gave us a response. And that's the response. And now we have this link. The event walking has been successfully scheduled. The time slot chosen ensures sufficient travel time from previous event at Stanford University and to the next event at San Jose International Airport. And if we look at here, you can see it has created an event for 10 minutes. 9:03. I don't know why it picked 9:03. Anyways, 9:03 it is to 9:13 in Los Altos High School for walking. And that's what this link takes us to. That takes us to the same place. Okay, cool. So that's good. Now let's try to connect this to Lovable. And this time we'll ensure that we edit the prompt so that it does not give us a chat box. I hate chat boxes. it's absolutely maddening that everybody like wants to chat with everything. Most of the time, I don't want to chat. I just wanted, the AI to do my bidding and go away. Stop chatting with me. Um, all right, so let's do a new one, and this time we'll not blindly trust. Think this is that's the one. Nope. Well, let's start from the beginning, shall we? We'll get this thing over here. We'll put it in, and then we'll copy the scheduler, paste it in here. A an intelligent scheduler, which is synchronized to my Google Calendar. Well, the problem here, well, this is only going to work for me because I've taken a shortcut where the Google Calendar's auth token, that's Google Calendar access tokens for me. But really, this should be tied to every user. Every user should have their own Google Calendar access token instead of just a single one. In this particular project, everybody has my access token. So everybody is Jiang Yao Kai in Google Calendar's eyes. So that's not nice, obviously. So, but it's just a demo project, so we'll see. Does it need to be logged in? Yeah, fine. Doesn't really matter. Because whoever's logged in is going to be Jiang Yao Kai. Okay, so we'll copy this, and then we'll edit this in Lovable. We're going to create a new one. Okay, let's go through this before we blindly trust this. Everything before is fine until this is still okay. Building agent result page. Chat room interface. No, I don't want chat room. I'm going to get rid of everything. I don't want to continue conversation. Okay, this is probably good. Let's get rid of that. This agent supports structured output. That's good. Identify the type, component mapping, error recovery. I don't really care about this, but that's fine. Accessibility. No, I don't care about that because that's just going to add more work to the AI, and most of the time they don't really do a good job in these, is it accessible to everybody? Yeah, well, we don't know. Response format. Okay. That's useless. That's AI generated crap. And this is fine. Display such as return structured cards, display in a structured way, tables, cards. Yeah, this is good. That's stupid. We'll leave it there, but that's very stupid. Like, these are typical anti-patterns, right? Obviously, I didn't write this prompt. It's mostly AI generated, and I didn't review this prior to this, so we saw the result. Like, everything's a chat box. I hate chat boxes, if I haven't made that clear enough. This is repeated, but fine. Doesn't hurt to repeat the same information multiple times. Just don't say something that's conflicting. This is probably good validation, fine. That's not bad. State management, message persistence. This is stupid. We'll just delete that. That's very stupid. That's not bad. Chat integration. I freaking hate chats, so go away. Nothing too bad over here. This is like repeated content for structured output again. Okay, we'll delete that because it's talking about chats again. No chat. In fact, I'm gonna search for chat. There's 3 chats. Okay, got rid of that. Get rid of that. No chat. Go away, chat. All right. That's not bad, not bad. String conversion. All right. I think this is mostly it. We're gonna try again with GPT-5 with the whatever's left of our 3 credits, which is kind of stupid because I am a paid user, so my monthly 100 credits has been gone for a long time. Like, this thing doesn't last, right? The previous thing we just built, which is just a tiny thing, costed us 2 credits. So yeah, now I just rely on the daily 5. Kind of annoying. Okay, so before we so let's see what is this doing. Thought for 41 seconds. That's very deep thinking. Not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Sounds good. Okay. So let's go back and see how our agent was built and how much work was there. If for the ones that are not familiar with Momen yet, we basically just gave it a bunch of inputs. That's the thing that goes into the agent, typically from the user or maybe from a backend workflow or from some external input. And then you have the prompt template where we have split the template, the prompt template into actually 4 sections. There are 3 that you can configure directly, which is a row, goal, and constraints. The row, as the name says, where you put the row of the agent. Goal is where you specify, or maybe we just put it called a task, right? What should the agent to do? And constraint is what the agent should be paying special attention to avoid or stay within. So in this case, I said departure time and calculate distance API should always be in Unix timestamp format, and that's good. Otherwise, the AI have no idea what format these APIs expect, just very much like a human. So if you just take a look at calculate distance, well, it has key origins, which kind of makes sense. Destinations, okay. Departure time. How the hell do I know what should I put in there? Because it's just a string. How does this string look like? So that's where we said you should convert that. So this is where we tell the AI, right, that you should use Unix timestamp in seconds, because there are also Unix timestamp in milliseconds since 1970. So we said, okay, specifically has to be in seconds, and we also gave AI another tool to convert ISO timestamps into Unix timestamps. And the mode, walking, driving, and maybe their public transportation, whatever. In this case, we're just saying just driving. Lovable is done, but we will not go there yet. And then we gave it a bunch of other tools, and then we talked about like the limits, like how you should avoid using things, and how like there should be enough time between these events so that the AI, so that the user can go from one event to the other without getting caught in traffic and miss that event. And in the end, you got the output. It could be plain text, what we saw in the Angry Dietitian. That was plain text outputs, but in this case, we're going to use structured output so that there is a link that can be clicked on. So that takes us to that Google Calendar event. The other thing that I haven't mentioned is the context. Context is where you get additional information from within the system. It could be from the database. In this case, we're just getting our key, the Google Calendar key. And how do we do that? We said, okay, just give me the Google Calendar access token from our key value table. Very simple. It's an abuse almost of context, but no matter. It is where you get dynamic data, because the Google Access token gets refreshed every hour on Momen using our action flow. I'll show you that later. In API, you can use a bunch of different APIs but with static predefined inputs. And if you want AI to generate that input for you, then you will have to use them in the tools like these APIs. The inputs are not static. These inputs are dynamically generated by the AI. This one is useful for, let's say, if the user has entered a query for searching for some information, and then here you just hook that up to a SERP API. SERP standing for Search Engine Result Page, like Tably. You can use that here. The advantage of using this API versus using API as a tool is that it's cheaper. And also it's lower latency, because the AI does not have to generate tool calls before it can be called. For AI to generate a tool call, it has to generate all these tokens to tell you that which tool it needs to use and what inputs should you use. These are all generated by the AI, and that takes time. And so it's 2 round trips. You have to first send in everything, wait for the AI to generate the tool call the tool, and then send the result back to the AI, and then the AI responds with the final result. But if you have something that can be directly piped in from the user input, or something that's static, and then you just call the API directly, then it's a single round trip, right? Because the moment you invoke the agent on Moment's backend, we directly pipe in whatever input you have into the API. We call the API, get the result back. That becomes part of the context that's also going to be part of the prompt to the AI, and then the AI responds in one go. So you save a round trip and you save some token generation. It's cheaper and faster, but not always usable. Cool, that's enough explanation on how this thing works, and let's take a look at what Lovable generated. Intelligent scheduler for busy humans. Wow, that's a good name. What does this do? Ah, it wants you to log in or log back. I already have a user, so I'm just gonna log in. That logs me in. That's good. That's good. Okay, that's not bad. Preference. Sync with Google Calendar. How the hell does this... How much credit do I have left? I wanted to... Oops. One left! Wow! Okay, so let's be very, very careful. A trick, not a trick, a thing you should pay attention to when interacting. This is also kind of stupid. Should give a different page. Okay. For interacting with Lovable and be credit efficient, what you need to do is, if you have small changes like this guy here, you should bundle them up, like have like 5, 6 small changes in one prompt, right? Don't like do one thing at a time, because then you're gonna burn through your credits. Also, if you have big changes, do it one at a time, because if you have multiple big changes, Lovable will go crazy and it's gonna make a huge mess. It's gonna break your project. And this is also a very interesting thing, right? You can see, like, ask for quick changes. This is very nice. I think this is one of the nicest things that Lovable has come up with. Because this select edit lets you pinpoint exactly what you want to change. It would be nice if this thing can be incorporated into the chat box itself, right? Like, one, call this not start agent, right? And like, you know, 2, and then we select something else, very much like cursor and GitHub Copilot, where you can have multiple references in the same prompt. But that's that. Okay, so things we want to change. Well, let's do something before we change. Let's experience this whole thing. Summary. Again, I'm gonna be walking. I like walking, and also I'm gonna delete this thing so that it's a fair comparison. We're gonna walking, and the date is going to be September the 1st. Time zone. It has default time zone there. That's not bad. 10min again. And this is stupid, right? Because we only care about physical locations, so we'll mention that. Preference. Well, this is wrong, because the preference should be about the schedule, right? Do you want it in the morning? Do you want it in the afternoon? But it says sync with Google Calendar. So that's kind of stupid. So let's jot them down first. Event locations should only be physical locations. Preference is referring to, preference refers to the preference of scheduling. E.g., mornings or afternoons, long wait periods between events or not, minimizing whether to minimize travel time or distance. Okay, that's good. And then also, don't say start agent. Focus on the job rather than the fact that this is an agentic workflow. All right. And also, I don't really want the agent output to be on the same page. So for once scheduled, don't mention agents. Because here it says agent inputs, right? When scheduled, maybe I want a separate screen, separate page to display the information. Okay, that's good. Let's see. Los Altos High School preference mornings only. Let's see what it does. And it says conversation 256. Yeah, that's again, like, we don't really want this. In progress should have nice when the agent is working. Ah, so that's done. We'll click on that later. When the agent is working, show something animated to indicate work in progress. Okay, that's not bad. Let's take a look. Click on here. Well, this time it's kind of failed, but that's not the fault of Lovable. That's really just AI failing, and that's AI for you. They're not often reliable. So there are a couple of techniques, but these are heuristics. There's no guarantee that AI is going to do what you want. So one of the common things you can do is called human in the loop. So before you let the AI actually call, create something, before you let them interact with the real world using state modifying APIs, have a human be the gatekeeper, right? The AI would ask for permission to run something, and then the human will say, yes, go ahead. And that yes, go ahead is going to be some static logic. Okay, so let's let's first delete this stuff. I'm going to delete that stuff, and then we're going to let it run. I have a single credit left, and we have 10 minutes left in this live stream. So kind of pan out. Not too bad. Come on. Think fast, think hard. Think well. And while AI is thinking, let's just take a look at how Lovable is actually built. It's kind of interesting because I'm a geek. First of all, Lovable has a library. Well, no, that's not here. A library of UI components. These are static. These are included with every single Lovable projects. And this is why a lot of the things built using Lovable has this distinct Lovable UI feel, because all the UI building blocks are static. I'm not saying this is a bad idea. This is actually great, because without this, AI will have to write a ton of building blocks. And that is a lot of tokens, a lot of time spent that is completely repetitive. Now, the problem with this approach, it's planning. Yeah, final preference options. Okay, let's see. If I say yes, what's gonna happen? Yes. Hopefully it doesn't tell me I have no credits. This is actually a good thing. Plan and act. This is very good. It's very good software engineering. Well, software engineering and prompt engineering that Lovable's team has done. Now, coming back to the issues with static UI components is that you don't get to define your own style as much as as you like. If you really wanted fine-grained control over your UI, it's very difficult to do. So a compromise would be like uh, if you're able to like upload design tokens. Design tokens are reusable components that you have created, or not even components, but like elements. For example, color is an element, but not a component. Right? So design elements, design tokens, if you can like import your own, that would be a very nice feature. Uh, and yeah, so that's the component part. These are static too. As you can see, in mobile, wow, the way Lovable is able to produce mobile friendly stuff is because all the components it has produced is going to check for whether itself is mobile, and all of them have their mobile counterparts. User toast is just the thing that pops up here. Remember when we clicked on it, it says like agent something 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 is working, and that is a result of that. And again, it is static logic. These are business logic that we have defined in our prompt. And you can see this is exactly here. And this is good practice. You have something to have to interact with the Momen backend. I think this is static as well. The pages are the pages. These are dynamically generated. Okay, so in this case, we actually have four. Well, we actually have 4 pages, but I think not found is a static thing. So realistically, Lovable generated app.tsx, login, index, dashboard, and moment.ts, and that's it. So it has generated 4 or 5 files and gave you a complete website. Well, why? How can it do that? Because most of that scaffolding has been done already, and Lovable was just adding things into that scaffolding to, in a way, doing the final touches. That is why it is very good at generating a front end application. As you can tell, most of this pre-generated stuff has no backend in it. And then if you needed backend logic, there is no natural way to integrate because Lovable does not have a backend. If you use Supabase, then it has to sync whatever it has written here into Supabase, and keeping track of how Supabase has evolved versus how this code base has evolved is going to be very difficult because you have a state that is not fully controlled inside the same system, and that's always going to be difficult. Anyways, I think we're almost done. Let's wait for. I mean, it's not fully almost done. Oh, it has created a new page. That's good. And that's what I asked it to do. Now it has, instead of 3 actual pages, there's 4. Not found is, as I said, that thing is just static. Come on, come on, come on. The anticipation builds. Come on, come on, come on, come on. They think for a long time, thought for 85 seconds. Jesus. And this is kind of odd because, like, when I clicked into it, nothing shows. Well, I know it's not fully done yet, but still, come on. What am I looking at? A button? Oh, by the way, I'm sure Lovable has a lot of things that says do not ever edit components. Oh, this is a new thing. That's new too. This is new. So components UI, all this probably is walled off from AI so that AI doesn't go crazy changing stuff. One of the main problem with AI is that it has a tendency to both change the things it's not supposed to touch and a tendency to miss the things that should be changed because there's coupling between different files. And the way to get around it is, in my opinion, is that you have programmatic ways of checking for such couplings, right? So a strongly typed static compiler is great, and Lovable is using TypeScript, and that is, oh yay, let's see. Should I refresh? What? Okay, so you said you have changed a bunch of things, and you have what? Okay. This hasn't changed. This has. Okay, so let's try the walking again. And see and scheduling updates. Okay, that's not bad. We no longer have this agent stuff. And the other thing I find annoying is that, like, who cares about whether it's an agent doing the job? I mean, AI agent. All I want to do is get my job done, right? I don't give a shit if it's an agent or a human or a piece of static code that's running my job. Preference, again, this is start scheduling, which is schedule requests 35. Okay, fine. That's receiving data. I mean, okay, sure. It's wrong, but from the user experience point of view, it gives you. All right, so it has failed. Yeah, I mean, the first one worked. Once you ask it to make some changes, even if it's GPT-5, it kind of goes crazy. And now I'm out of credits and we are out of time. I'm out of credits, we're out of time. Thank you very much. And that'll be the end of the live stream. I'm sorry I'm not able to take any questions because I don't have YouTube control today. I couldn't log in.